contagious. Hopefully they'll laugh for us again. All right, we wanted to do a little video that introduces ourselves, talks about our just life, backstory, where we come from.
Our love story, maybe.
Right. Well, in this next two videos, yes. We're going to make it to two different parts. And we figured if we're going to do a bunch of videos and make a little series on virtuous living, we should tell a little bit of our backstory.
Yeah, and we're going to make another video about singleness and how to thrive during your single years, kind of what we did well, how
some fun lessons that we picked
lessons
up.
we learned. But for now, we figured we might as well tell our love story first.
Oh, I love it. And naturally, with any good love story, like any good love story should, for us, it begins before we even met. So, these chairs are too close to each other, so like a little.
Get away from me.
Yeah. Oh no, not that. It was one of those like the creaking of the chairs. Okay. Not supposed to say Okay, so a lot of memories from speech and debate, and even teaching speech and debate. That was a fun lesson. We did have a buzzer or yell at the students if they said not yell at them. Anywho, no one can yell at me if I say so
That's
whatever.
True. I can though.
All right, so yes, started before we ever met. I grew up in a homeschool family, pretty conservative as far as conservatism-ishness goes. Second of 6 kids, so pretty big family. There was a big drawer of socks in the laundry room. No one ever knew where those socks belonged. Yes, a lot of time together. We spent a lot of vacations, a lot of family time together. Everybody's got their own problems or issues, but for the most part, honestly, very thankful for just. I'm still friends with my siblings, man. Just we all if we get together, this is always a good time. I feel like, and we have a lot in common these days.
So as far as your preparation for marriage, your approach to dating the whole world, your in singleness, what did that look like for you?
For us, it wasn't like a topic for us, but also for me, it wasn't a subject we talked about all the time. As a guy, personally, and also just me being me, if you knew me as a kid up until like even early 20s, the idea of getting married, didn't want to get married, didn't want to have a family. I wanted to be a single guy, single bachelor. I wasn't like wanting to get married. You wanted to
do something big, I feel like.
Yeah. And
make a big impact, sacrifice yourself.
Well, I hadn't met you yet, I think, was part of it. But the narrative definitely I was busy. I had a lot of things on my plate, a lot of things on my schedule, and I was moving around a lot, I felt like. So the calendar was always had something plugged into it with people or with projects or, I feel like in a big way, keeping focused and keeping busy was important. I did know that, I think in the back of my mind, knew I wanted to get married someday.
But anyone knowing Richard would have been like, Richard has bachelor stamped on his forehead. He's super focused.
She'd even said that before.
Yeah, no one suspected he was even thinking about looking for a wife just because you seem to have other things on your journey, on your road.
Exactly. I put focused living, busy, friendships. Yes, I did. This was something big for me. I maybe not articulated it in this way, but in some of my journals it is written kind of like this. I've always had a problem with those religious camps that confused a higher calling for virtuous living, with a legalism and a judgmental sort of thinking. So people that confuse legalism with virtuous living. Like if you want to live and strive for a higher character, you're like labeled as someone who's legalistic or pious or putting everybody down. And there are Christians that do that. There are people that they try to strive for something higher, and then in the process they look down on other people and they don't have the humility they're supposed to have. And so maybe there was a little bit of that with the homeschooling culture that I sort of came from in some ways, but I feel like on this he keeps trying this on this side of things, definitely thankful for that. A lot of it's already 4.5 minutes. I got to make sure we're moving quickly here.
Okay, that's right.
But that's just sort of the build up from my background. We talked about why a lot, I feel like, in terms of why we believe what we believe. A lot of different resources.
From everything I remember you telling me is you saved yourself. You were super intentional about your relationships with women. You were really trying not to lead anyone on.
Not like emotionally, or I feel like as much as possible.
Yeah. You kind of kept yourself at arm's length from girls.
Yes.
Emotionally.
Emotion for the most part. Yeah, I really tried to work at that as best I could.
Yeah.
So.
That was
a big part of it. I feel like we need like a 10-minute video for this.
I know.
So you got like.
It might be a little bit.
I left you 2 minutes here.
Okay, let me talk. So, single life for me, honestly, my parents, we had a pretty healthy and balanced view of marriage. I think growing up, I sort of always assumed that I would get married. It was more probable that I would get married than not get married. So while I didn't bank on that, or even that happening right away or very soon, I planned for that likelihood. I wasn't really super career focused, but I spent a lot of time developing my private piano teaching studio, and was able to make good money and save that way. And but honestly, yeah, I just surrounded myself with community. I was really knew I wanted to I knew what in general I wanted my relationship to look like, and that I wanted the guy to be the strong leader and to approach me in a way that was clearly didn't have anything to do with me manipulating a guy or trying to drag him.
Would you say that was modeled more by your parents, by books, movies you've been
mostly scripture, just like scriptures, picture of a guy and a man being the leader of the home, and being my spiritual leader and my the general leader of our home. So I didn't want to kind of throw myself at a guy or get a guy to like me, or I just wanted to be friends and balanced with all the guys that I knew, and then if anyone noticed me, wanted to pursue me, they could. So definitely was not like husband hunting, but I wasn't isolating myself either. I was definitely mixing.
Right.
So we're at 7 minutes now, which reminds me.
We could have like a 10-second lead up into when we first met.
Yeah. So like.
I think there were some events we went to that we probably walked right past each other and didn't know it.
Yeah.
Just because of how the networks are in California and how things are.
But we met at a dance. Someone actually told me about him.
Right.
Said, hey, this guy's going to be there. He's a great guy, super godly family.
Just like for like high schoolers, dance.
Yeah, I was older.
I was probably in college.
I was helping put on the dance. You were older. You were there with your younger
siblings and friends. Yeah.
So
it was not weird. It was just there were some of my students, some of like my siblings' friends were there.
Yeah, so we danced at some point, and I didn't really know at the time that this was the guy that my friend had been talking about.
Forewarned.
Yeah, but I just really liked so much about him right away. His the way he seemed comfortable in his own skin, didn't mind being there with the younger kids, and was just really a happy, smart, seemed to be a good dancer. Just like I was really strongly drawn to him.
You were a good dancer too, floating.
And at the time, what was your impression of me?
I remember everything about our first encounter, but I definitely didn't follow up on that. I think we got to do another video.
Yeah,
on this.
We'll tell the rest of the story.
Part 2 coming soon from this
minutes.
point on. Yes, 8.5 minutes. You guys don't mind, right? Hey, if you
Part 2 coming up.
If you wanted to push the button, feel free to just hit the shutter.